What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mood616 here, and it is that time again for another hip-hop CD collection update. That's right, I'm not going to do any of the vinyl in this one once again. I think I said after the last update I was going to do some vinyl ones. Just kind of completely slipped my mind, but now I really got to get these CDs out of the way here so I can start putting the stuff back into the collection because it's just getting out of control. So I really want to get this done first, and then I'll do a vinyl one update also. But first thing up here, I want to let you guys know about my new hip-hop podcast called Disposable Arts. It's with my man Tom and Jason. Tom's YouTube channel is FXP. And of course, Jason's is Jason vs. Bosco. I'll leave the respectable YouTube channel links down below. And yeah, so check out the podcast, man. It's getting some pretty good positive feedback right now and stuff. So if you guys are into that type of thing, do give it a shot. First episode, we talked about, various subjects and things like that. And we also reviewed Rock Marciano's new record and OC's new record too, which I do highly recommend both those. But check out the episode. I think it went by really well. And we're looking to do bigger things in the future and stuff. So we got lots of cool ideas coming up. So yep, shameless plug right there, but check out the podcast. It's really the only way I can promote it besides the Facebook page and stuff. So anyways, guys, let's get right into this update here. I separated it into kind of two parts. I'll just make one long video. This is basically all the 90s stuff here first, and then we'll get into the 2000 post stuff, 2000, albums later. First up here, I did pick up one record from the 80s. I don't really grab a lot because I have most of the stuff that I need, but I did grab Just Ice's Desolate One from 1989. This album is a record that was all produced by KRS-One, actually. It's really short, man. This is such a short album. It's only got about 8 tracks on it. I do like the production on this. It's not my favorite Just Ice record, but I do enjoy this one. But yeah, check out Just Ice's the Desolate One. So that's the one record from the 80s I picked up. And I'll start off with a couple albums here that were supposed to be released in the 90s that have got newer releases, but these are actually like straight up 90s albums. We got Pudgy the Fat Bastard, but he's retitled Pudgy on this record. King of New York, which was supposed to come out in 1995, unfortunately was shelved due to, fucking label bullshit. Cool stuff, not as good as his first record, but I really enjoy this one. It's got some production by the Beatminers, Nick Wiz on here and stuff like that. But there's a really cool unreleased track on here, produced by Majesty, featuring The King and I, which is very, very cool to see a feature by The King and I on here. I think that's really awesome. It's called Check 1 2. Pretty cool stuff. Not a lot of features on here. There's actually a feature from Missy Elliott, which is like so strange on here, from 95. I think it was recorded like 94 or something like that. But yeah, this is a label out of Belgium called Back to the Source, so check out them. This one's still available. It is limited, so if you're interested in grabbing this, definitely, jump on it right now before it's gone. So, but yeah, I waited a long time for this album to come out. It didn't disappoint. It's not as great as his first one, but good. But it's still really dope. King of New York, check it out. Next up here is Chopped Hearing's release of Shades of Brooklyn's Pandemonium, finally getting like an official release. Now this was really cool, man. One thing about this record, this release that kind of pissed me off is Survival Wars, When It Rains It Pours, it's actually the radio edit version on here. Now I remember years ago downloading like a bootleg of basically this album with a bunch of other songs and stuff, and it of course had the explicit version on there. Now I'm wondering why they put the edited version on this release. It's so strange because there's always those tracks in the 90s when you listen to it like a 90s album, especially from the early 90s, where all of a sudden one track would just be edited on the record. It's so strange. So that it kind of has that feel to this. But fantastic stuff, man. Produced by the Beatminers. You gotta love this shit, man. I absolutely love Shades of Brooklyn. Really, really dope group. They basically dropped all these 12 inches and then, kind of leading up to this record that was supposed to come out that never dropped. Thanks to Chopped Hearing Records. They're releasing so much obscure stuff from the 90s that just didn't get the proper releases or got shelved at one time or another, so that's very cool, but big props to them for releasing this. That's really cool. Next up here is probably the best album that you've never heard on Ruthless Records, and it's by Yomo and Maliki. This is all produced by DJ Yell. It came out in 1991. This is an album I never hear anyone talk about. It used to get a lot of, kind of talk on the forums years and years ago, but it seems to like no one just knows about this album anymore. It's kind of strange. Yeah, this was, I'm assuming one of the first acts to come out on Ruthless Records in 1991. Like I said, all produced by Yell, and some of his best beats that he ever did. This is really interesting because these are the guys that flipped the For the Love of Money beat first, before Bone Thugs and Harmony made that song very, very famous, which was in 1991, which is really interesting. It's actually called For the Love of Money on here. This album is just full of singles, man. Glory, Mama Don't, For the Love of Money, When Your Back's Turned. There's so many good songs. Mockingbird's awesome on here. Every song is amazing on here. They're more or less, they're not like hardcore gangster rappers. They're more conscious kind of street rappers, just talking about social, relevant, themes and things like that. But awesome, man. They still come across as being, very, very blunt and stuff like that. I really enjoy it, man. Check out Yomo and Malky, man. This album is fucking amazing. It does go for a little bit of prices. I did manage to find a promo copy, which, it's just kind of punched like right there, but not a big deal. It was still very, very cheap. $6 or $7 I got it for, but it's been on my wish list forever. I love this record. It's awesome. Really, really good left coast stuff right there. So moving along, another one I knocked out of the ballpark, man. And I've been wanting this album for so long. Just could never. It's kind of nice that vinyl's made a huge comeback right now. So now you can kind of pick off a lot of these older albums on CDs for cheaper. It seems like their values dropped a lot. And this one right here is Double X Posse, or as they were known as Double X on this album, Rough, Rugged, and Raw. All produced by Double X. I keep wanting to say Double X Posse because that's what they went underneath when they dropped their first record. Awesome 95 boom bap, just hardcore, rough, rugged, and raw shit, man. The title just says it all in this one, man. It's such a great album. Check this out. It's 12 songs of just straight heat, no filler on here whatsoever. It's a long album though. Every song runs about 4 or 5 minutes. It's like kind of like one of those typical 90s albums that doesn't have too many songs, but it just has a long runtime kind of thing. But yeah, awesome record. So happy to have that in the collection. Now this next record right here is one I've literally had on a wish list to grab for. I found out about this album in the early 2000s. It's from 1993. It came out in 1993. It was all recorded in 1990 and 91. And unfortunately, this MC, he got killed in 1991, or he died. That's the thing. I don't know anything about this guy. I can't find any information on him, and it just kind of adds to the mysterious level of this record. And it's by a Class A felon. Now, this is an album, like I said, I found out in the early 2000s, about 2000. And even then, I was just baffled by this. I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this cat? And stuff like that. This is self-titled. And you can tell by the album cover, that they put on here after, it's something to do with, stop the violence movement and stuff like that. I'm assuming that he succumbed to his death for violence, maybe he got shot or something, I don't know, but he was a very conscious rapper, man, and this stuff kind of fits in. It came out in 1993, like I said, recorded in 91, and it even has a 93 feel to it. It was very kind of ahead of its time. I think this is an underrated, just overlooked, totally forgotten album. I think more people need to check out for sure. Such a shame. I would really like to know more about what happened to this guy and just get a little bit of history about him, but it is what it is, man. I've searched the net for years and years. I even did a quick search even before. Still can't find shit on him. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. But if you can find this one, give it a shot, man. It's really cool, really obscure album. And the prices have seemed to have dropped on this one. Like I said, I've had it written in my notebook for years. And it used to go for $40, $50. And I got this one for about 15. So something like that, 15 or 12. So I was happy with that price. Can't really pass it up. Another one knocked off the... out of the notebook, and that's Capital Tax, the Swole Package, another album from 1993. Very, very obscure stuff, produced by DJ Smooth. Really good stuff, man. It's very 93-ish, it's got that 93 sound that we all love. Really good stuff. Can you dig it, man? There's a lot of good tracks on here, really good stuff. Again, long record, 16 tracks, yeah, check it out, man. Capital Tax, another one I've had on my list for so many years. Price finally came down. I actually got this brand new, believe it or not, from Amazon. They had a copy. I just did a quick search one day and I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's so random. I'd never seen it on there before. And they had a copy and I was like, this is so crazy. I don't know how. And it's not even a reissue. That was the weird part. I don't know. Next up here is another one that I found solely by chance. Just look, every once in a while I'll go through my notebook and I'll just start, doing searches on the albums I'm looking for. And this one came up again on Amazon. I'm like, what the fuck? But it was a third-party seller, and they said it was brand new. It's still sealed. And it's Messengers of Funk, which is, I believe, self-titled. Yeah, Messengers of Funk, self-titled. Again, from 1993, which I didn't mean to put these albums in order like that. It's just the way they kind of fell in. But yeah, this long album, 17 tracks on here. Very, very 93 stuff. I believe these guys were from, I think these guys are from the West. I can't remember exactly where they're from. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I actually can't remember. I think they actually are from New York. I 100% can't remember right now. Having a brain fart, but awesome sound to this. Really, really good sound. But yeah, so it was sold to me as new, but it obviously was a promo copy, as you can see with that little cut there. So strange. It was still sealed, like, with this cut, so they'd obviously resealed it after they cut it. But yeah, Messengers of Funk, happy as hell to get that one off the list. Yeah. Another one here from 93, 94, which is Dred Scott's Breaking Combs. Another record that I've wanted for so damn long. Love this album back in the day, such a classic song. Dred Scott was cool, man. He actually produced all his own stuff, and of course, yeah, producer slash MC. And, you know, it both was good. Like, the production's really solid throughout this whole record. I think his rhymes are really good. He's not like, you know, a fucking amazing MC or nothing, but, you know, it does its job, gets a point across here. I believe that he did drop a second album. Unlike most of these groups, like all these albums I'm showing here, like these guys only ever dropped one record. It's kind of weird, but Dred Scott actually did drop a second record, which I've never heard, unfortunately. So I need to check that out sometime. But yeah, Dred Scott, awesome record. Some of that mid '90s stuff. Sorry, guys. Yeah, got something in my throat there. All right, yeah, moving along with Freestyle Fellowship's first album, To Who It May Concern. I believe this album came out in 91. I think it came out in 91. This is actually a reissue. It says from 1999, Beats and Rhymes Records. Crazy. I didn't even know when I was buying it, it said it was a reissue, but either or, man. Big fan of Freestyle Fellowship, man. I love AC Alone. Ace One is like my homeboy. Love him, man. Mike and Nine's very interesting. I'm not really the hugest fan of Mike and Nine's solo stuff, but I do like him on the Freestyle Fellowship records. Peace is such a weird guy. Self Jupiter's dope too, man. Always been a big fan of these guys. They were very unique in their style, you know. Being from the West, they just definitely didn't sound like they were from the West at all. You would never know these guys were from there, but yeah, very, very cool stuff, man. You guys know about Freestyle Fellowship. Come on. From 1997, Ultramagnetic MC's the B-Sides Companion. This is one that I actually really enjoy, man. There's some really good, you know, there's like a couple like radio promo tracks on here, remixes and shit like that. It's pretty much what it is. You got like a 2000 version of Ego Trippin' on here. Some remixes from Funky, 12-inch version and stuff like that. It's just kind of a cool thing. This one's been out of print forever. I never came across this ever, like, and I found it for a really good price. So like $3-4 or whatever. So, but yeah, that's what's on the album. If you guys can see that right there. Pretty cool stuff from Ultramagnetic MCs. Just didn't have that in the collection. Moving along to 1995 with, man, one of my favorite West Coast kind of gangster records. This one's just fantastic. The beats are just phenomenal on here. Jail Felony, Take a Ride. He kills this record, man. Absolutely kills this album, man. The Loc is on his own, man. Oh my god. There's just so many good... Take a Ride is just like... Which is interesting too. Like, Take a Ride, I think, was the first single off this album. And he actually put it as the very last track on a 16-track album. It's pretty cool that he did that, man. I remember the video for that and going, damn, that was really cool. But I forgot how much I love this record. I picked it up after all these years, and this is actually like the Japanese import of it. So, but yeah, it really brought back a lot of memories, man. I was like, holy shit, this is such a good record. By far his best album that he ever put out. Good stuff. Very interesting that Jam Master Jay was the executive producer on this album too. Very cool. But yeah, Jail Felony, Take a Ride, awesome shit. Next up here is D-Nice's sophomore record from 1991, To the Rescue. This was like a total polar opposite record of his first album, production-wise. You can tell that, you know, he was signed on Jive Records here and, you know, fucking doing songs with all his Jive mates. Like KRS-One was on a song called Rhyming Skills, and he did a song with Too Short. That's right, D-Nice and Too Short did a song together called Check Yourself, which is like, it's so 1991 Too Short too. It's totally awesome. Not as good as D-Nice's first record. You know, it has some pretty corny whack hooks on it and shit like that, but overall it's still a pretty fun record. Very short, 12 tracks, but yeah, D-Nice, To the Rescue. Pretty cool stuff. Next up, what year did this one come out? 1992, which is Red Hot Lover Tone's first album. I really need to get his second album, man, because I absolutely love his second album. I think it's Number One Lover. I think that's the name of it. For My Peeps is on there with like Biggie and stuff. That's such a great track. But this earlier stuff is so much different than his stuff that he did in 95. This was like all about being a gigolo. It was all about the bitches and the hoes. Like songs like The Gigolo and Like a Virgin, Gigolo Thing, Pussy, Pussy's all of that. Gigolo's Got It Going On, Sex Anonymous, My Lady. You know, this was very, you know, for the ladies and stuff. You know, it's not his best work by any means, but some of the beats on here are pretty whack and shit, but still pretty fun. I actually kind of like this record though. It's good stuff. Just happy to get that. It's been, I don't know why I never picked that one up. I think it was always kind of available to get, but I don't know. Next up here, we got Granddaddy IU's Lead Pipe. Finally got this one. I showed this in my sophomore video that I did a little while back. Not even knowing, someone left a comment saying that Granddaddy IU actually doesn't like this album, which is kind of funny because I actually prefer this over his first record, but it's all produced by Granddaddy IU. It's got that 93, 94 rough and rugged kind of up-tempo beats. He comes hardcore on this one. I like this style, man. I think it's pretty fun. I just can't believe how polar opposite this album is compared to his first one. It just fucking blows my mind, but yeah, good stuff. Lead Pipe. Here's one I just never had in the collection. It's hard to believe I didn't own this, and you know, it's one of those albums I just kept putting off because it was so readily available and I could grab it any time. And that, of course, is the Fugees' first album, Blunted Reality. I do like this album. You know, I used to like this album a lot more. I listened to this recently again, and it just doesn't work as much for me as it used to. I don't know. I actually prefer the Fugees', you know, kind of pop record. Not their pop record, but their like mainstream record more than this one. I think it's actually a good album for, you know, kind of a mainstream record, but this one still has its moments. I think it's dope though. It's just not as good as I remembered it to be, but Fugees. Picked up this just because it was there and I didn't have it in the collection. Why not? It's the featuring Ice Cube compilation, just songs that he's done with other artists over the years. This was released in 1997, so stuff from basically like about 90 to 97. You know, you got stuff with like Natural Born Killers is on here. Even some of his own stuff here. We got Trespass, Ice-T and Ice Cube. Shit like that. The song that's dope on here is Wicked Ways with Mr. Mike. And Ice Cube, that's pretty fucking cool. And of course, To The Head. To The Head was, it's crazy, man. Cool G Rap and Ice Cube, fucking dope. Awesome shit. Next up here is that Trap Stop the Gunfight album that has verses from Pac and Biggie on here. This is fucking atrocious. This is really terrible. I never heard this album before. And I always wanted to grab it. It was like $1.49. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to grab this thing and check it out for the sake of checking it out. Man, this is really, really bad. Like, I hate the fact that it says featuring, you know, big bold letters and shit on here. There is a couple songs that they actually are featured on, but there's like 14 tracks on here. Most of it is pretty damn fucking whack. This is fucking garbage, man. I hated this. Next up from 99 is Thug Mentality 1999, the double disc album by Crazy Bone. I love the shit out of this record. I don't know why I never picked this one up. I think it's because it was always more expensive, more higher price than I wanted to pay for it. But to be honest, man, if I was to do a top 10 double album list, I think this might actually even make it. This is really good. There's a lot of good shit on here, man. There is some filler, you know, of course, that you're always going to get on double albums. Yeah, man, this one right here is really good. You know, it's got some pretty cool features, man. We got Tretch on here, 8 Ball and MJG. We got Fat Joe, Big Pun, Cuban Links. We got Snoop Dogg, Corrupt. We got, you know, the guys from Bone, all the Mo Thugs family, like Graveyard Shift and stuff like that, E40. Pretty cool, man. I actually really enjoy this album. It's a long fucker, man. It's crazy that he made this into a double album because it's like, really, it's like two it's like two long albums. It's nuts. It's crazy. So, Crazy Bone, Thug Mentality. We got Digital Underground's Future Rhythm. This came out in 1996. This is kind of like it's so, you know, I mean, obviously, Digital Underground's music was very influenced by like George Clinton and Parliament and stuff like that. It's kind of what it is, you know. It's very, very funky and stuff like that. It's got a lot of weird features on here, though. I was surprised to see like the Loonies on here, Yuckmouth and Numbskull, and Delta Funky Homo Sapiens on here. There's like a lot of really strange features and kind of oddball tracks on this. It's not a very cohesive album. It doesn't flow very well, but there is decent songs here and there on this one. Yeah, definitely not Digital Underground's best work, but I think by 1996, a lot of people didn't even know Digital Underground was even putting out albums anyways, so kind of cool that they even put this out, but I always liked the cover. I always liked the color scheme of this, man. Pretty cool. Yeah, next up here was, I think this is Celly Cell's last album that he did on Jive, the G-Files. You know, I've been on a Celly Cell kick. I picked up his, you know, his previous albums and previous updates and stuff, and I just didn't have them in the collection, so I thought I'd grab them. Not as good as his first two albums. I really don't even care for the It's Going Down remix. It's okay with Forte, E40, Be Legit, Mac 10. It's okay. Really long, kind of slower and shit like that, but yeah, you know, it's more Celly Cell. If you're a fan of him, you probably dig this album. It's alright. Here's a really, really strange album by Brooklyn Funk Essentials. This is kind of a hybrid album of like hip-hop infused jazz and funk instrumental stuff with a little bit of spoken word. It's like, it comes across as very artsy stuff. This came out in 1995, and I always remember seeing this around, never knew what it was. I finally just decided to give it a shot because it was like $2 or something like that. Like, I picked this for dirt cheap. So I decided to give it a shot. It's got some really good instrumental stuff. I wish they hadn't have had some of the spoken word over some of the tracks because the beats are fucking awesome. Like, the live instrumental stuff is really good in this. I thought it was awesome. Pretty cool stuff. Really, really long. There's 12 tracks. Every song is like 4 to 6, 7 minutes long. Instrumental stuff, right? Not for everybody, but actually really fun. I enjoyed that. Grab the reissue of Return of the Funky Man. I mentioned this in my sophomore video because my original copy has a fucking massive scratch on it, which pisses me off. So I had to rebuy this. I should probably just get the vinyl this one day, but yeah, I love this record, man. I really, really love this record. That's why it was, you know, I like this one more than Lord Finesse's first record, so it was enough to warrant buying it again, even though I think it was like 2 or 3 songs get pretty bad on it, but it's enough to, my OCD can't handle that. But I love that Lord Finesse record. Next up here is Sugar Free from, I think 97, yeah, 97. Produced by DJ Quick. I think DJ Quick produced most of this album. I've never really been the biggest Sugar Free fan. I like the beats and stuff on here. I just don't really like his voice a whole lot. His voice is kind of irritating to me. And even his flows and stuff, like he's all right on times. I don't mind him as a guest feature on a DJ Quick record or someone else's album. But the whole album by him is not really the greatest. Not really the greatest, but beat-wise, pretty cool. Another one from 97 here, which is one album that I feel like was very, very overlooked. And that's MC8's Last Man Standing. And I say that because this album came out after Death Threats in 96. And, you know, it was Death Threats, of course, as a follow-up to We Come Strapped. And those albums were awesome. And this one came out and went, poof, like straight under the radar. Not a lot of people even knew this one came out, but it's got some really dope beats and shit on here, man. It's kind of got like a little bit of that Death Threats. You know, Death Threats kind of more or less sounded like We Come Strapped. We Come Strapped is actually one of my favorite albums of all time. I love that record. Love the beats. They're so dope. And Death Threats was kind of like an interpretation of that. It felt like it was kind of leftovers. And then, but this one right here had its own style, and it had kind of that incorporated into it too. But some really good shit on here, man. I really enjoyed this, man. Yeah. Check it out, man. We got Daz Be Real on here. But honestly, man, this one surprised the shit out of me. No one ever talks about it. I don't know. Good shit. Next up here, we got Delicious Vinyl. Basically like a greatest hits album from the first 10 years. We got some Tone Loc on here. Mellow Man Ace. Masta Ace. Farside, Who Riders, Born Jamaican, stuff like that. Pretty cool. I just grabbed it because I just didn't own it. I like this type of compilations to have. Plus, you know, Delicious Vinyl. Can't go wrong with that, right? Pretty cool. Now, this album right here, I'm really, really ashamed that I had never heard this album until I picked this up a couple months ago. Believe it or not, I'd actually only ever heard singles off this. A couple singles you guys would definitely recognize. I never heard this album. I never gave it a shot because I really hated the group name. I'm not going to lie. I'm that guy. But, and that's All City from 1998. This has some really dope production on it, man. It's got production from Pete Rock, DJ Premier, I think Fredro Stardust production here. It's got some Rock Wilder. Overall, the production on this album is really good. There's a couple songs on here that, you know, I feel like are total filler songs. 17-track album, you're going to get that. But, you know, the song, The Actual, produced by DJ Premier, is phenomenal. I remember that track from back in the day, and I just, for some reason, I loved it so much, forgot about it, picked up this track and was listening, I was like, holy fuck, I love that track, so dope. Priceless, produced by Pete Rock is really good. But even the Rockwilder beats on here are really surprisingly good. You know, it was kind of before the Rockwilder kind of became that signature Rockwilder sound. You know, it was different. His beats were a little bit different on here. And I was surprised at how cohesive this record was, having all these different types of producers and stuff. And it sounds very, very good. And I actually really enjoy Greg Valentine and Jay Mega on this record, man. They do a good job. Yeah, kind of an overlooked one, man. In my, like, this is totally me overlooking this record. I'm sure everyone out there watching this video has probably heard this album. I just, for some odd reason, missed this one. All City. I'm just flabbergasted by it. We got JT the Big of Figures, Dwelling in the Lab record from 95 or 4? I can't remember when it came out. This is a reissue, so it has the reissue date on it. Found it for a couple bucks. I was like, I need to grab this one. I've always liked this album. JT the Big of Figures is like that guy from the Bay Area that just is still doing shit. You know, he's got like, fuck, what, 20, 25 albums, though. It's ridiculous. Bay Area legend, I would say. And, you know, it's good, man. I enjoy this record, man, for what it is. Bay Area shit, man. It's good. Next up here, man, we got Twista Adrenaline Rush from 1997. A lot of albums from 97 in here. It's bizarre. You know, not my favorite Twista stuff. I enjoy this record. I do like Twista's album before this one. I think it came out in like 92 or something. It's pretty cool. Which I need to get my hands on, but not bad. Not bad. I wish Twista had it kind of stuck, you know, in the underground and not really went mainstream, because his style is like would be cool over some of these beats that we're hearing today and shit like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. He just started making these pop records and I kind of lost interest in the stuff. But this is pretty good, Adrenaline Rush. I like it. And then 98, he came out with Twist and the Speed Knock Mob Stability, which I thought was pretty good. For the most part, I mean, it's very, very hit and miss. There's a lot of kind of party beats and stuff on here, and shit that I wasn't really feeling a whole lot and stuff. But, you know, it wasn't the wackest album in the world, but it was okay. And then we got the Suave House compilation, kind of like a greatest hits album. This one right here, it's not really greatest hits. Like, it has some of their decent songs on there. From Suave House back in the day, from 8-Ball and MJG and South Circle and the Feds and shit like that. But, you know, I mean, whatever. I mean, it has Just Like Candy. It's okay. I like these compilation albums, grab them every once in a while. 8-Ball and MJG's In My Lifetime. Now, this album right here, I remember listening to when it first came out back in 99. I was in the record store, I listened to it, and I really didn't like it. It was like a total step down from the previous album, On Top of the World, I believe. And I really didn't like the beats and stuff. Very mellow. Re-listened to it recently, and I actually thought it was pretty good. You know, it's not bad. It's not their best work, but it is very, very mellow. It's different. They took a very different approach to this record. I think it's more personable. I think that's why they kind of, you know, more of the themes on here, and I think that's why it's a little more laid back and stuff. But, you know, it's not a bad album. I actually kind of enjoyed it, so. And we got MJG's No More Glory. I'd never heard this album until a few months ago when I picked it up, and always had this one on a wish list to grab. It's dope, man. I like MJG, man. I think he's cool, man. Some more Suave House stuff here from 97. Common theme here, man. A lot of 97-ish. Try to finish this up here. Next up here we got 20 Below, MC Breed's second record. I love MC Breed. He's always one cat that I always thought was from the West Coast, because everybody was affiliated with Too Short, Tupac. He had production, you know, later on from like DOC and fucking Warren G. And like, he was just always associated with the West Coast. Even though he would talk about Michigan, I was always kind of confused on why he was. You know, from Flint, Michigan and stuff. And, but yeah, it's cool, man. I love MC Breed. I always loved his voice. This is a good album, 20 Below, his second record. It's the one after he did with the DFC. And then here's his third album, The New Breed, which, you know, of course has Gotta Get Mine with Tupac, which is a song, was pretty big back in the 90s. And production from DOC and Warren G on here and stuff. I always like this. Very, very kind of short album, like 12 tracks or something. Yeah, but it works though, man. MC Breed, The New Breed, dope shit, man. And of course, last up for the update here, another MC Breed album, Big Baller from 1995. This album's so laid back. It's got the most pimp beats. I love this shit, man. It's really dope. Really, really good stuff. He's always got these same kind of structures. 12 tracks, intro, outro, couple features, but I love this album, man. It's good shit. So, but yeah, awesome. I did the update in under 30 minutes. I'm happy about this. So anyways, guys, or I mean, I did this half of the update in under 30 minutes. So that is good to know. We're going to get right into the 2000 post albums here in a second, so stay tuned. Yeah. Alright guys, yeah, moving along here into the 2000 post albums. Yeah, so let's get right into this here. First up here from brand new 2017 stuff, we got Ran Reeds. If you can see that. Ooh. Ran Reed still commanding respect. This is really fucking dope, man. Brand new Ran Reed stuff. Finally some brand new Ran Reed material. Pretty much produced by Ran Reed himself. I think Nick Wiggs did a couple beats on here too. Really good stuff though, man. Lots of cool features on here. We got Bumpy Knuckles, Cool G Rap Man, Shabam Shadiq, Sadat X, MOP, UG, DV Alias Christ is on here, man. It's fucking dope. Super cool to hear his voice, you know, on a chorus and stuff. Really awesome. But I have to say, man, the song Pathetic MCs on here with Bumpy Knuckles, with Freddie Fox, man, is just sick. So sick, man. Man, Ran Reed, such a dope MC, man. He just kills every track on here. Couldn't recommend this one enough. I'm totally spacing on the company that I got this from right now. If I remember, I'll leave the link down below, but definitely give this one a shot. It's awesome. Really, really love this record. Next up here is a General Steel and ESK present Building Bridges. This is one that I didn't have a physical copy when I did my top 30 last year. I eventually got it. I think I got it the day after, the day after I posted the video or something like that. I was telling Tom about that, he laughed. But really good shit, man. Very, very mellow, laid back hip hop, kind of boom bap-ish hip hop. Awesome, man. Give this one a shot. Really good stuff. Yeah. Now this one right here, I actually realized why I never checked this out last year. And someone left a comment on my top 30 video and saying, did you check out the new Rex album? And I was like, Rex put out an album last year? I thought that he put out a Greatest Hits album. And I'm thinking this is what happened to a lot of people that didn't know that he put out an album. Because this Rex album is called The Greatest X. Now it looks like The Greatest 10. Which would imply a Greatest Hits album. And I noticed it was a double disc. I just assumed it was a Greatest Hits from, you know, the previous years of his work. But it's not. It's called The Greatest X. Or The Greatest Unknown, I think is what it actually stands for. He should have renamed this one a little bit different because it totally got swept underneath the rug from myself. I have to say, man, for a double disc, which you don't see very often anymore, this has got some really, really good production. A lot of good features on here, man. We got production from, of course, Static Select on here. Buck Wild, Audible Doctor does a lot. Archetypes on here. His beats are kind of hit and miss, though. Some of them are really good, some aren't. We got some Black Milk, Large Professor, Knots. Who else does production on here? Pro Logic, Evidence, Apollo Brown. It's ridiculous, man. BC Einstein, Relentless. And features, man. We got features from, like... Oh, fuck. Ari the Rugged Man's on here. Planet Asia, Roscoe, Reef the Lost Cause, King Magnetic. The list just goes on and on. Mo Pope, Terminology, Acrobatic, Ed O.G. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, man. Awesome. This is actually really, really good. The song with Ari the Rugged Man, Bitch Slap, is just sick, man. It's so sick. They both kill it and stuff. But I gotta say, man, for a double disc, the production, pretty damn good. Like I said, the odd kind of beat by the Archetype, not really my favorite, but... very, very good. I gotta say, this one probably would have made my top 30 if I'd have heard this last year, but I thought it was a Greatest Hits album. I should have just looked into it more. But let's face it, with a title like Greatest X, it looks like Greatest of the first 10 years kind of thing. Yeah. But I do recommend that. Really good. Run the Jewels 3, which, you know, did make my top 30. It did make it. At the time, it was still very fresh. I just heard it a couple times. You know, prior to making that list and stuff. This has grown on me a lot more. It's really dope. It's more of a mature Run the Jewels album, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it has this more serious approach, which at first I was kind of confused by, but you know, ultimately it does work. I think that's what they kind of need to do. Maybe not just make all these kind of ridiculous tracks that we all love, but yeah, the beats, man. Again, LP just comes hard with it. I don't know how he manages to produce this stuff so fast because it's so busy and shit, but it's good, man. Run the Jewels 3. I recommend it. Good stuff. Next up here, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but man, I really wanted to check out what all the hype was. I've heard a lot of this guy's stuff before. Like, I shouldn't say a lot. I've heard tracks and features and things like that, and I've never really fully understand the hype behind this guy for a couple different reasons, and that is Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition. I don't know what it is, man, but this guy's voice and delivery is just beyond me. I have to say, man, I liked a lot of the beats on here, not just because there was a track on here produced by fucking Black Milk, and there's actually a Alchemist beat on here too, and both they were pretty good. But it's his voice and delivery. I just cannot get into. This guy ruins almost every track with his voice, and he changes his voice from track to track too, which is kind of strange. So he's putting on this voice for some songs, and I'm just like, I can't listen to it, man. It's just like insane to me. But I did like, actually, I liked a lot of the beats on here, which were very kind of out there and different and kind of interesting stuff. I just don't like Danny Brown himself. I've come to figure, so I don't know, man. I can't, I just don't understand the hype behind the guy at all. Next up here is Bad Neighbor, of course, from Mad Blue and Madlib. This is open, I still have the plastic on it. Just kind of cut it like that, like I do with my vinyl. It's what it is, just like a little small LP, right? This is pretty cool, man. It's not as good as I was expecting it to be, you know, considering who it was, Mad and Blue and Madlib and stuff like that. We got lots of features on here, man. MF Doom, Anderson Paaks on here. That's how you say his name. Aloe Black, Black Spade. I haven't seen Black Spade on anything in a long time, but you know, it's pretty interesting. It's Madlib, you know, always changing up his styles and shit like that. Pretty cool. Constant Deviance album from 2000. I think this one came out in 2015. It was just one I'd missed from 2015. I'm a big fan of Constant Deviance, so had to check it out. It's not their best work. Their album from last year, I could not find a physical copy of. I did like it, but I couldn't find a physical copy of it, which was interesting. Pretty laid back. This one was a little more laid back and not as catchy as some of their other stuff, but I did like it though. It was okay. It was not whack or anything, but next up here is one that I actually completely overlooked a couple years ago. I never checked out until a few months ago when I checked it out. It's a very short album, man. Buckshot and P Money, producer, MC record. This is pretty cool, man. It's 10 tracks. It's pretty short. Got some features from Joey Badass is on here. We got Steel from Smith & Wesson's on here. Short record though, 10 tracks. It plays out kind of like an EP. It's so quick. I think it's like under 30 minutes. But I did like it though, man. Buckshot sounded awesome on these, and I wish Buckshot would do more records like this, because, you know, I mean, he's done with KRS-One and stuff like that, and he's done various work, but I like Buckshot. I love Buckshot, and yeah, he's cool, man. Good record. One that I just completely overlooked from a couple years ago. Next up, picked up Paris's Hard True Soldiers Volume 1. If you're familiar with Paris, man, he put out these records. Hard True Soldiers, basically this compilation of cats that were on his label at the time. We got Cam, MC Ren, Public Enemy, stuff like that. T-Cash, Uno the Prophet, which is he's so dope, man. We got some Conscious Daughters, which I'm overly not the hugest fan of. We got the Coop on here, which is pretty interesting. Stop the Movement, which I think there's 2 cuts of the song on here. One with Trade E, Tafari, Das, J-Ro, RBX, Superfly, Badass, WC, Dilated Peoples, Mac Minister, and Everlast. And then the remix had Mobb Deep, KRS-One, Mac 10, WC, The Alchemist, Evidence, Tafari, Be Real, and Everlast. Fucking crazy tracks, man. Crazy shit, man. But good stuff. I love the Cam song on your Can't Break Me. It's dope. So if you're into Paris, you know what you're gonna get with this. Pretty much all produced by Paris, though. And then of course Volume 2. First song on this one, Martial Law, by Paris, is just fucking bangs, man. It just absolutely bangs in this room. It like blows the shit off. Blows my shitter out. But yeah, no, this one isn't as good as the first volume, but there's some good stuff on here. We got some more T-Cash and Uno the Prophet, and it's more Paris, of course, T-Cash, NY Oil's on here, which is really cool. But yeah, you know, it's more of this hard kind of reality rap from Paris and the Hard True Soldiers, man. Next up here, man, we got my boy Jace, man. He fucking hates this guy's name, and I can see why, but it does make sense from where he's from and him being who he is and stuff. But we got Haystack with Crackavelli. Generally not even into this stuff, but I love Haystack, man. He's a good storyteller. He actually has some pretty good beats and shit like that, but he's just more or less a good storyteller. I like his ambition and his approach to hip hop music, man. It's pretty interesting, man. He's just he's one of those cats I hear no one talk about, probably because no one wants to check out a guy named Haystack, and I do respect that 100%. But honestly, man, he's a lot better than he looks, man. Crackavilla, it's a good album. This is actually a double disc album. It's crazy, man. Like fucking 15 tracks on each side. No interludes, or no, I guess there is intros on there, but he just balls it up, man. Portrait of a White Boy is part 1 of the White Boy trilogy. I love this record. This is awesome. Really good stuff. Again, you know, really good storytelling and stuff in here, and he just kind of keeps it real, man. I like how he's so personal on his records, and he's not trying to be someone that he's not, you know. And I really like that about him. And he stays consistent through a lot of his albums. Pretty cool stuff. Really dig that one. One record I didn't really care by Haystack. This is one he did with Jelly Roll. I didn't care for the beats on this record, and I actually don't like the fact that, you know, Jelly Roll's rapping on this and stuff like that too. It just, there was a lot of features, which Haystack doesn't really generally have a lot of features. His solo albums are generally solo albums, which is kind of cool. This one had a lot of features. I didn't really care for a lot of the features. I know they did another album together too, which I don't even know if I'm going to check out, but yeah, not my favorite stuff by Haystack. And Jelly Roll, man, Haystack, man, looks so much skinnier on this fucking album cover. It's crazy. DJ Logic, man, Xenologic, dope beats. Really good shit, man. Fucked. Love the beats on here, just a beat kind of tape thing. Awesome. If you're into that shit, man, check out this DJ Logic. It's awesome. Loved it. DJ Crush. DJ Crush, I believe is, I think he's a Japanese DJ. I think so. I could be wrong. I think he is, though. I might be totally tripping balls right now and forgetting that he's not. But I don't know. But anyways, man, there's some really awesome remixes on here, man. From CL Smooth, Aesop Rock, the Kill Switch remake on here, or remixes, which is dope. Black Thought, Malik B. What else we got, man? We got some more Black Thought, Company Flow. But I love the remixes on here, man. Really fucking dope. Is DJ Crush Asian? Am I thinking of someone else? I'm just having some brain farts right now. I'm sure Tom will definitely fill me in on that one. But yeah, this is good, man. This is really good. I don't know if you'll be able to see the tracks that are on there, but fucking glare. You know, the glare sucks. But yeah, good stuff. Sean Dunn, No Excuses. I heard this album back in the day when it came out. I think, well, yeah, 2010 when it came out, and I dug it. Not so much anymore. I think it's a little bit too, I don't know, there's some choruses and stuff on here, and it's the pacing of the record. I have to listen to it again, but I wasn't overly blown away by this again, so I don't know. I like Sean Dunn, though. I think he's pretty good, but that album, not really my favorite. Speaking of not really my favorite records, Keith Murray's Intellectual Violence. Oh man, this is horrible. Really fucking bad. You know, it feels like it's a fucking mixtape, but I think it's, you know, classified as an actual album. I don't know, but man, this is like really not good. Keith Murray, what the fuck happened to good Keith Murray, man? Like, back in the day, like, he put out some really good shit. I love Keith Murray's first 3 records. And then he just like completely fell off the face of the earth. Starts putting out this shit, man. This came out in 2008. Pretty bad shit. We got Def Jux Presents Company Flow, Cannibal, Aesop Rock, RGD2. This is, I think this is like the Def Jux Volume 1 kind of thing. I think that's what it is. It's really not a lot of stuff I don't already own. Aesop Rock with Kill 'Em All, Straight Up the Dick, Cannibal Ox. Some more Cannibal Ox with Iron Galaxy, you know, shit like that. Company Flow, just, it's almost like a sampler disc, man. Like 7 songs, kind of get you into Def Jux. This is early Def Jux, 2000, so I think this is when Def Jux started. So this kind of makes sense. It's more of like a sampler. It's what we got. So, Compton's Most Wanted, Represent. I actually like some of the beats on here. I think this came out in 2000, I don't know, 2004 or something like that? 2000. Fuck, this came out in 2000. Crazy. Some of the shit on here is okay. It's not really the greatest record in the world, but, you know, it was a Compton's Most Wanted record I didn't have. Love me some MC8. I think Chill, Slip. Chill was back on this record, I think. Yeah, it was okay. There were some moments, but... An album that I completely overlooked from a few years ago, released by Fat Beats. I think this came out 2012 or something. Man, what is with a lot of new albums these days and not having the fucking years on the back? Who the fuck puts out an album that doesn't have the year on it? Son of a bitch. Diabolic's Fighting Words. This is good, man. I like Diabolic, man. He comes hard. I like his flow as a style, man. It's pretty good. Got a lot of cool features on here. Self-titled, Ari the Rugged Man. We got Apathy, we got Sean Price, Vinny Paz. Yeah, you know what you're getting with here. Beats are nice, man. Diabolic's cool. I've always been a big fan of this guy. Doesn't really seem to get the respect, but even though he kind of fucked over his fans, I believe, in one of those campaign type things, he kind of took the money and run and shit like that. But, you know, let's judge him on his skills right now. Good record. I enjoy it, so. But yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna move this shit. Oh, fuck. I almost spilt that too. I have a habit of dumping albums in the middle of videos, don't I? Need some coffee here, man. Next up, WC Guilty by Affliction. Produced by Ice Cube. I don't understand why it says it on the cover, because I don't think Ice Cube actually even produced one song on this record. It's kind of funny. I do like a lot of tracks on here. There is some really bad choruses and shit. But this is one of the better WC solo records, man, in my opinion. There's some really good stuff on here. Beats are pretty decent for when it came out. I think it was in 2008, I want to say. 2007. Got to go inside to get the year. Again, no year on the back. What the fuck is up with that? Fucking newer albums. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. Rest in peace to DJ Crazy Tunes. So fucking sad that he passed away. It's crazy. But yeah, Guilty by Affliction. I enjoy that record. Pretty good shit. Just gonna fucking move this. Christ. Next up, we got AWOL 1 and Factor. Only Death Can Kill You. I love this album. I think AWOL 1 and Factor did shit, man. 3 or 4 albums. I got like, how many? I got like 3 or 4 albums right there with them. Yeah, they did a lot of albums together. Factor being a Canadian producer, actually, which is quite interesting. And AWOL 1 being, I think, from the West Coast. So, yeah, very interesting, but awesome combination. Really dope beats. I dig AWOL 1, man. He's not for everybody, but he's cool. Picked up this one. Never actually heard this record before, and that's, what is the name of this? Philadelphia Freeway. By Freeway, his debut record. You know, I do like Freeway on the mic. I think he's pretty good. I think what falters him here is just this early 2000s production. A lot of, what is it, Just Blaze and shit like that that's on here. I think a lot of the beats are just not overly my favorite, man. Yeah. I like the song with Nate Dogg on here all my life, but overall, actually, I actually really do dig this album. So my favorite Freeway project is the one that he did with Jake One. I love that record, man. I thought that was really dope. But again, this one just kind of falters from sounding a little bit too poppy at times, and I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't accompany his style that much. But West Coast Bad Boys, Poppin' Collars. I believe this was the 3rd volume in this series from No Limit Records. I'm showing off a No Limit record. I didn't have this one, so I grabbed it. I saw this in my buddy's shop, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? I didn't even know about this." But yeah, really, really strange. 2001 shit, man. So I listened to it, and it's actually pretty bad. There's really nothing great on here at all. The West Coast Bad Boys track with WC-40, Daz, Goldie Loke is pretty cool. Poppin' Lockin' 2 is pretty cool. The WC track was okay. E40's on here. JT the Bigga Figga. We got Roscoe and Badass. Jail Felony, Master P, of course, Mac 10, Eastside's Brother Lynch Hung. But all the songs are kind of like lackluster. Like it feels like all these songs are fillers. It's weird. There's really nothing great about this. Very disappointing. But next up here, we got Kool Keith, The Lost Masters. This one came out in 2003. Now, I don't know when these tracks were recorded. It's always hard to tell with Kool Keith if they're newer or older or whatnot. But it's fun. You listen to all the tracks, and it's just like a bunch of shit. It sounds very cohesive. It almost sounds like an album. It's very strange, but there's part 1, Kool Keith, Lost Masters. Enjoyed that. Lost Masters Volume 2. Now, I know you can get this Kool Keith, Lost Masters kind of 3-disc pack, and it has a 3rd volume. I think the 3rd disc is released solo too, so I have to check it out. But I couldn't pass these up. They were like $1 or $2 a piece, so I was like, fuck it. Again, this one came out in 2005, and it's just more of the same shit as Kool Keith with all his randomness and shit like that. Songs that didn't make albums and things like that. I don't know. Kool Keith has the biggest discography or body of work. Him and Mocha Only probably own a good percentage of the hip-hop work ever produced. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous, man. Between the two of them, they have like 5,000 albums. It's ridiculous, but yeah, Kool Keith. You can never go wrong with Kool. Well, you can go wrong with Kool Keith, actually, but those are pretty fun, actually. Finally picked this up, man. The Kool G Rap Click and Respect group album. You know, this was the only Kool G Rap project I was missing, and I never grabbed it for whatever reasons. kind of enjoyed this, man. I actually really dig a lot of the shit that's on here, man. 40 Cal is pretty cool, man. G-Rap is good on everything he does. Even the beats weren't as bad as I remember this one to be. When did this fucking come out? 2003. It's got a year on the back, great. 2003. But I remember hearing this when it first came out and just totally passed on it. I was like, oh my god. Expecting something else what I didn't get and shit. But yeah, finally happy to have this in the collection. I think it's pretty cool, man. Yeah, got some Buckwild production on here too, which is really cool. Song Cold World with Angie Martinez. Now, I've stressed many times in the past, I'm not a big fan of sequel albums. And this one right here, I kind of put off. When did this one come out? Yeah, about 2010. That's the War Report 2. I like could not bring myself to check this out. And I finally did. I picked it up. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this one a shot. This is actually pretty good. I was impressed by this. I mean, it's nowhere near like the original War Report, but this one was actually pretty good. There was some pretty good beats on here. Good Raekwon's on here a couple times. Actually, Raekwon's on here 3 times with a song called Busta Rhymes, or Busta Rhymes on a track to the Locks. But, you know, it actually flowed pretty well, and it didn't feel like it had like a lot of shit beats and stuff. I enjoyed this, man, for what it was. It was very entertaining. Surprise. Very, very big surprise. We got K Salem and Beatnik. Whose World is it? Is this more or less a, you know, compilation type album? Papoose and shit on here. We got Talib Kweli, Cardinal Official, Dead Prez. We got fucking Raka, Science, Young Bucks on here, Luciano. Fucking strange combinations, but our songs and shit like that. But I dig this, man. I thought this was actually pretty cool. This is another one I hadn't really heard before until I grabbed it. This one came out in 2008. I actually knew about this. I didn't really know many of the tracks or anything, but gave it a shot. I enjoyed the production on it. It's pretty good. Next up, I just grabbed these albums because, you know, if I'm missing anything DITC, I'll just try to grab them eventually. And I grabbed Fat Joe's The Dark Side. Actually, this is probably one of Fat Joe's better solo records. There's actually a lot of pretty decent beats and stuff on here. Again, there's some pretty commercial shit on here as usual with Fat Joe, but this was actually surprising. There were some pretty good tracks. I do like the song with Primo in here, but it's actually probably not even my favorite song. There's a couple other tracks on here that I actually preferred more than that one, which is really strange. But yeah, this one had a darker feel to it. It literally had a dark feel. No, you know, pun intended, you know, being the dark side, but it actually did feel a lot darker. He had a different approach to this album. It wasn't, you know, kind of mainstream, provoked and shit like that. And I don't know. I thought this was actually a pretty decent attempt at making, you know, a record for the fans, not, you know, the masses. So, speaking of that here, man, we got Fat Joe, the Elephant in the Room. Again, a dollar grab or whatever. This album, there's a couple decent songs on here. Overall, pretty whack shit by Fat Joe. Just trying to knock off all the Fat Joe records I was missing. I have all the good albums. I'm grabbing all the bad ones, I guess. Yeah, not really great. And we got Me, Myself, and I. Again, this one right here. Oh, fuck this. The song doesn't Make It Rain with Lil Wayne. Oh my god, it's so bad. Or no, maybe it's The Prophet with Lil Wayne. There's 2 songs in here with Lil Wayne. It's just, I think they're both terrible. Again, a couple tracks in here I thought were decent, but man, he's making these pop records, man, it sounds like to me. I don't know. Poor Fat Joe, man. He used to be so dope. Ride or Die Volume 2. Never had this. It's really not great at all, I will admit. World War III, though, man, with Young One, Snoop Dogg, Scarface, and Jadakiss. I love that track, but otherwise, you know, the beats are just, you know, Swiss beats and shit like that, and it's not a good era, man. I just feel like these beats were just very lackluster and shit. 2000 shit. This felt like straight leftovers from the first one. So they just did this second volume right away and shit. That's exactly what this feels like to me. But, you know, yeah, not really my thing. I was never really a huge Rough Riders fan, so kind of makes sense. We got an introduction to Buck 65. We got some Canadian shit here. It's very short, man. There's like 2, 4, 6, 7 tracks on here. It's very short. It came out in like 2002. Kind of spanning some of like the 90s, shit like that. And yeah, it's interesting, man. There's a song on here about Kiss, the band. It's very strange. It's like so strange, but yeah, Buck 65. I thought it was pretty cool. Next up here we got Take 'Em to the Cleaners by Consequence. This is like more or less a mixtape. A lot of Kanye West stuff on here. You know, it plays exactly how you would figure, you know, mixtape. I've never really been the biggest Consequence fan. His solo stuff, I like the stuff he did with Tribe for the most part. But, you know, his solo stuff just always kind of lacks something. It just, I don't know what it was about Consequence. I always feel like he could have been better, but yeah, I don't know. Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna lose that. This was a cool find, man. Can Kick from Arts Unknown. I was very happy to find this because this was one that was actually on my list. My arm is actually getting sore. Holy shit, I'm such a pussy. But yeah, man, this was really good, man. Can Kick, dope producer, really cool shit, man. This one came out in 2001. Still kind of has that 90s feel mixed in with like a 2000 kind of updated vibe, you know? Very cool, man. I really enjoyed the production. Very kind of smooth and kind of jazzy boom bap type shit. Cool, man. Really enjoyed this. Next up here, man, we got the Media Green mixtape volume 1. You know the Flex mixtape volume 1. Of course, Media Green, you know, we got some Mos Def on here, shit like that. I enjoyed this, man. I thought it was pretty cool. I got to get the other Media Green record that I'm missing. That's the one I've been after, but I came across this one, and I was like, shit, I need that. That's cool. Next up here, we got Grand Puba's Retroactive. You know, man, I've always liked Grand Puba on the mic. Sometimes he just doesn't make the greatest albums. Like, you know, there's a song on here with Q-Tip and Large Professor, and then there's one with Kid Capri. This album felt so unorganized. Like, it's all over the place. Beats, rhymes, themes. I don't know. It just has no cohesiveness at all to this record. I don't even really like the production that much on here either. Same Old Drama with Large Professor is probably one of the better tracks on here. The joint right here with Kid Capri. I've never really been a big fan of that song. Even the remix with Sadat X and Lord Jamar, which is a little bit better. That, you know, you got the Brand Nubian Cats on there, but I don't know. This is actually a really bad record, and which it sucks because I'm a huge Grand Puba fan. I love him. And last up for the update, which is running close to an hour now, and that is, of course, Insane Poetry. This is an album that put out in 2008, and I fucking love this record, man. I thought it was really good, man. It's not as good as like Insane Poetry's like earlier work, which I need to get my hands on. It's just harder to find. Fallen from Grace, but I really enjoyed this, man. I thought it was pretty dope. Good shit, man. Very kind of down to earth and stuff like that. There's some tracks on here. I think the outro, man, he goes on for like 12 minutes or some crazy shit, man. It's insane, but if you're familiar with Insane Poetry, you know what you're getting with here. It's kind of horrorcore, hard kind of shit like that. It's, you know, it is what it is, but yeah, that is going to do it for the update. I think that was shit, man. That must have been around 80 albums at least or something. I'm so happy to get this shit done because I have like, this whole desk is just packed full of shit I need to put behind me, and that's probably going to take me a whole nother day to do. So anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed it, you know, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. It's okay too. Yeah, I'll be back I'll do a vinyl update soon for the newer stuff that I picked up. Hopefully I can remember what the hell I even picked up, you know, kind of thing. So but yeah, until the next update, which I have no idea when it's going to be. I do have some things coming in I've picked up you know, recently. So until then, check you guys later, and of course, as usual, peace. Oh, and check out the podcast. Check out Disposable Arts, man. Again, shameless plug. Peace.